ahead and start. Thank you, Brian, for starting to record this meeting. Well, I want to welcome everyone, and to our, I believe it's our fifth mini training, Tuesday mini training, and this training will be recorded and archived in our website. This presentation will be approximately 30 minutes, and we will allow 15 minutes for question and discussion at the end of the presentation. If you would like to make a question, you have to raise your hand and click on the Zoom toolbar. And if you have like a long question that cannot be responded in the chat box, will be answered at the end of the presentation. And the link of the handouts will be posted, as well as the link for this presentation. So my name is Myrna Medina, and I'm the Family Engagement for California Deafblind Services. So the topic for this presentation is conversations to promote interactions during time of COVID. As you probably heard in the past, when Julie and Maurice talked about their presentations, when we thought about this mini trainings, we were focusing on the things that we have to adapt during this time of COVID, or things that the new things that we have to face now during this pandemic. So so here's my presentation. So when back in March, when everything before everything started, everything was kind of normal, if we can put a word to it. We were attending schools in person, we were having family reunions, we were playing with peers, we were attending sports and church, and you name it. Everything was kind of moving normal, so to speak. And when everything started, it was a big shift that had to reshape our worlds. Our lives were like thrown into this situation that we have to readapt to the new normal, or the new now. Like Julie said last time in her presentation, we have to learn how to wash our hands. I know you said wash our hands. Well, we knew how to wash our hands, but they taught us how to better wash our hands in order to not spread COVID. So all these small things that we never knew it was important, now they became the focus of this this new reality. So the schools were shutting down, and because of we couldn't attend because of the pandemic. We couldn't visit family or have reunions with family because they were so so many restrictions and protocols that we have to follow. The kids were not playing with other kids and their peers, and they were throwing we were all thrown into this state of isolation, kind of. So that's why it is important to say that our lives were reshaped, during this pandemic, and pre and now during is not post, because you never know what's going to happen in a month or so. So we have to be conscious of that. So so this is the during and the before COVID. And when this everything started happening, the people that came to the rescue was the family. Kids with disabilities, in this case with deaf blindness, were thrown in the house, or were put in the house with nobody was explaining what was happening. So the families and the moms, the dads, and the siblings that were already doing, they were having these roles. They reaffirmed those roles, and they really became teachers to the kids, and they became friends to their kids, to their siblings, to their son or daughter. They were playing buddies, they were therapists, they were advocates. So all these roles that they were already doing, they have to do them again. They have to do them, in order to keep these kids alive, because everything that were typical to them was not there. Their schedules, their routines, all the things that they were already doing, going to school or, playing with friends, they were like non-existent anymore, at that time, when everything started happening. So we had to readapt as a family members. So we had to learn a few things. We had to learn how to be technology experts. We were sent to this cyber world that we knew existed, but we were not really practicing that much. So families, moms and dads and siblings had to become accustomed to work in these situations. We had to improve our family interaction. We knew we interacted with our kids, but not in a formal educational way that now is required. We had communication and relationships. We had to learn teaching strategies, how to do our job best. So our kids had meaningful activities at home. And with siblings, we had to establish routines and learn it, because we as parents do things, but sometimes we don't necessarily think that, okay, this is going to be a routine. So we had to learn that, in a better way to have these meaningful education activities for our kids. And one of the other things that became is behavior management experts, because these kids started showing behaviors due to the fact that their world shifted completely. They, like I said, they were like thrown in this uncertain world that all this productively predictable state, it was not there anymore. So it was kind of complicated for both. It's not just for the kids that they were put in this situation, but for the parents and the families too. So we had to learn those things. That the meaning of the human is based on social contact. Remember when we meet with friends and we have fun and we share experiences, and it's all because this is our world. It's based on social interaction, social contact, and just the feeling of being part of a group or belonging. So it becomes in a natural way. So for our kids, and I have this quote for Van Den Tiller in 1999. She wrote that students who are deafblind, the ability to interact in a reciprocal way is not as developed as a hearing and sighted students, because they live in a world of proximity and touch. Reciprocal interactions can be challenging. So that thing, those interactions that come natural for typical kids is not there for kids who are deafblind and have other disabilities, because their world is proximity. So I have this analogy that communication or interaction is like a dance, and when you think of dancing, it's like I move and you have to follow the flow and understand what this music is about, and and trust your partner when you're dancing. So it's communication and reciprocal interaction is the same way, to my belief. And I give and you give me back, and I respond to that, what you're giving me. So when we talk about interaction or reciprocal interaction, is two people talking, two people paying attention to each other. It's giving us time to respond, to process. Is that the open communication that I'll try to understand what you're saying, and you try to understand what I'm saying. Is observation. Is just like seeing what you're doing and the way you're doing it, so I can follow you. I can trust you. I acknowledge what you're saying. And I affirm what you're saying. Is like, yes, I understand what you're saying. It's I know you're here and you're there, and this is what you see, and I see it with you. It's building trust. This reciprocal interaction is building trust, is giving support. respecting each other, respect, the subtlety of your responses, is it responding to what you're trying to tell me, is understanding and respecting that, how you feel. I feel safety and providing safetiness to this bond in this relationship. And all these, ingredients or all these factors strengthens the bonding on the communication, on this two people talking and these two people dancing, according to my analogy. So it is important to understand that that everything flows about when there's communication, when there's this bonding that is supported by all these factors. Let's see. Okay, sorry. Okay. When we talk about positive relations, there's key elements about them. Is the trust that I was talking about, is this predictability and reliability and safety. Is if there's no trust, there's no bond. And in order to have this relationship with kids, is we have to build this trust. The kids, they have to feel security that they can be part of the group. They can be part of this communication. They can say something, and you're going to be able to hear that, and you'll be able to understand, and that will build a trusting relationship. In this picture, we see the kids that they have very good interaction because they're paying attention to what they're doing. They share commonalities and playing and having fun with I think they're doing. So I know I'm going too fast, but I have this video tips that I want to play. And before I do that, I would like to tell you that there are 4 different video clips that I wanna share with you. But when I share these videos, I want you to pay attention to the interaction they're having these kids, and this are 4 because I try to focus on simple things on each one. So the what I want you to focus in and do analysis is the mutual attention when they're playing. And if you see affirmation, if you see pacing and timing, and you see respect, trust. And one of the things that is important in these videotapes is promoting the sibling interaction, supporting communication, observation, quality versus quantity. I think that's important when we talk about interaction with kids. Many times we think about, having all this fun with this student or this kid, and having a lot of fun. But is it really meaningful to them? Is it really having an impact on learning on the kid, or is it just something that it's longer, and it's really that the kid is not really learning anything? So in the engagement, how to engage, even if it's very little time, but it's very it's a quality time. I think it's more positive in reinforcing to their learning. So I'm going to go ahead and play the small first videotape. We have this kid called Norman, named Norman, and he's exploring the ball. So we'll see how this I can do this. Okay, I think I did something wrong. Okay, so
the ball.
Okay, so hold on. How do I do this? Okay.
Yeah, the ball is here.
I might need your help.
The other hand too?
Here. Julie, help, please.
Myrna, click on the screen where it says click to exit.
Okay.
Okay. Now, it
Okay.
looks like you might already have the,
Okay.
Mhm.
but wait, the video's also already playing. So what you need to do is
Okay.
go to that link for the tab that has the YouTube for the Norman Explores
Okay.
the Ball.
So, but it's the previous video. It's not this one. So I'm gonna just, what
Not
do we
that
do?
one.
Go back. It's
Go
not this.
back. Yeah.
It's okay. So
Yeah.
it's this one right here.
Yeah.
So click here.
Click on it and see if you might need to have it. Yeah. Click right there on that.
Select.
Yeah. No, click where you see where the thing is underneath. Yeah.
Okay. It's okay.
Here it is. Okay.
So here it is.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, the ball here.
I have to say something. Hold on. I tried many times before right now, and it worked perfectly. Now that I'm trying to present it really nice and smooth, I had a glitch. So here I go.
Yeah.
I'm
the-
gonna start it from the beginning.
Yeah, the ball here. Huh? Ah, look at this. Yeah, the ball is here. Huh? You feeling with the other hand too? Huh? Yeah. Huh? Huh? Yeah. Hmm? Maybe the ball?
So how do I go back? Is just escape, Julie?
Yes. Hit escape
Escape.
and then go back to where your PowerPoint
Okay,
is.
right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we can revise or analyze this video out of this list, if you can unmute this, I'm going to make this interactive. So if you can unmute your microphone and tell me what you saw, if we can do this together, that will be really nice. I don't know if you can help me with that, guys. Maybe you can help me. Can you guys unmute your phone or your?
I'm happy to provide a model. Myrna, what I liked was the pacing.
Okay.
I liked how the adult was following the little boy's pace and not
Okay.
rushing.
Okay, so we can see pacing and timing because it was really noticeable. I really like the mutual attention. I don't know if you could see that. Also, it's in that small video clip we saw that the adult was trying to model the ball and join join the attention of Norman touching the ball. Okay, anybody else would like to jump in the conversation? Feel free. So we have a second video that I would like to play, and I'll try to do it this time myself.
Myrna, go to the next slide. That's the same one.
Oh, it's the same one?
Yeah.
The ball.
Okay.
The ball
So
here.
I'm
Huh?
gonna try to
Ah, look at this. Yeah, the ball.
stop. Okay, so no, well, yeah, it's the same one. Okay, so here it is.
Mm. You're feeling with your mouth too. Mm-hmm. Well, huh?
Okay, this clip is really small and really short. So going back to the list and when I was putting this little presentation together, I watched this video many times, and that's why I selected this for little clips. And in this one in particular, the affirmation is really noticeable because the adult is affirming that Norman made a noise, with the ball, and the adult was like reaffirming, okay, see, this is what you did, and here is, I'm with you, and I'm, playing with you. So just giving that respect, that communication is going between them. So any other that we can see that is, it's probably engagement too. It's a beginning of engagement on this video. So any comments, Julie?
I'd like to add something. This
Yeah.
is Taylor.
Hi,
Hi. I noticed there's a lot of trust between them, especially in the previous video where she was using hand under hand. That requires a lot of trust for
yes,
the student or the child to be willing to touch objects that they have no idea what it is. So I
exactly.
wanted to add that.
Yes, exactly. So that's another one that is trust that is in this list. So I'll play the third video that I believe will give us more information about the trust and the affirmation and the respect and communication between them. So here we go.
The ball and the lorries, yeah. Yeah. Norman, and then, huh? Yeah, good for you. Go. Who wants to eat it? Ah. Yay for the lorries! Yay! Through it. Okay, Norman. And then back in the middle. The lorries! Yay! Yay! Okay, let's throw it to me. He likes to throw it to you, yes. The lorries! Well, he's hungry. I think he likes to play with his mouth too, and with his hands. Well, what are you doing with the ball? What are you doing with the ball? Yay! Yay!
Okay. So anyone has comments on this? I think this is a wonderful situation that we see here. We see definitely the promoting the sibling interaction. We promote the trust that you said, Taylor, that is there in order for Norman to engage in this interaction. I think is, you can see it there. The pacing, is not pushing for Norman to grab the ball and pass the ball. I think we see that there. The affirmation that, the happiness that he's having and the interaction that he's having with his sister. The affirmation with the adult, touches Norman's and reaffirms that, what he did is really fun and nice. So anyone has something to say about that? Anybody like that video?
I really liked it a lot. I think she kept reaffirming the trust between them by talking and touching, to let him know, she was still there and exactly what was going on. I don't know, it was really wonderful.
It is wonderful.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I think this few slides that I have, I mean these few clips that I have, I think tells more than what I can present on. I think just seeing in action what is about, you know, positive interaction is it's great. I'm going to show the last video clip, and then we'll discuss more about it. So okay.
Where's the ball? Where's the ball? We did it before. Yeah. Huh? Thinking? Where's the ball, Mona? Huh? Where's the ball? Hmm? What do you think? Is it here? Is it here? The ball is here? Yeah. The ball is here. Yay. Uh-huh. Good. Yeah. Good. Yay! Let's see. You didn't do anything with the ball? I think he's hungry. Okay. Are you all done with the ball? With the ball? All done with the ball? Ball. All done. Bye-bye.
Great. So this is the last of my clips, and on in this particular slide, I really like the fact that the adult honors Norman's finish time. He's all done with playing. You know, that's when the quantity and quality you know takes place, because you know even though it wasn't a large amount of time playing, the little 2 minutes or 3 minutes that Norman played with the adult in his sister was really powerful. It was really very of quality, you know. He learned a lot. He exchanged this communication with them. He exchanged this in, you know, interaction. So I think it's a perfect example that these 4 clips show us, you know, the you know what is in this list is that's the respect, the mutual attention, the hand under hand, like Taylor said, the pacing and respect and you know everything that is here. So when I was looking for something to show you, I think this is a perfect example of, you know, that things that we would like to encourage families and professionals to work with our kids, you know, with kids with deaf blindness. Any questions? Now I think it's time for I know I'm a minute ahead, so I think it's we can open this for questions and discussions about this presentation. So you can turn on your cameras and mics.